Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Over the Rope Sports. It is your host, King Ty, and I'm joined here with a very special guest today. It is my boy Owen from Drop Top Sports. He is also Catch the Blitz's Redskins specialist. I botched the hell out of that name.
You're fine, bro. What's up, guys?
How are you today? Living life?
I'm big chilling. Yeah, living life. Got school to do, sadly. But besides that, I've been big chilling. You know how it is, quarantine life.
Nothing much to do on this quarantine. So today we got a special episode coming up. We're going to talk about a few things. First off, we're going to get kicked off talking about the Redskins draft. We're going to review that, talk about all the signings that we got, talk about the undrafted free agents. Then we're going to go in and we're going to go ahead and talk about our season predictions, who we think is going to be starting for the team this year, what we think the schedule is going to look like, how many wins we're going to get, how many losses. And then to close out the show, we are going to finally reveal the mystery of the Clowney Chat Draft Day Troll. Everybody's been waiting for that. It's kind of a big topic in our little group that we got going on. So definitely a main reason to get this video started off. So first off, Owen, tell me about yourself. How is it working for Catch the Blitz, which is one of the biggest NFL pages on Instagram?
It is, yeah. We have 80K. It is fantastic. I love working with the guys. The two guys that founded it, their name is Christian and Thomas. Thomas hopped on at 10K, but they live in Toronto actually. And so I shot them a DM after I had my first one of my first pro interviews with Nick Sundberg, the Redskins lawn snapper. And I said, look, I got this interview. I'd love to give it to you guys, but in return, is there any way I could get a job? And they said, actually, yeah, we've been looking to add people. So I went through the interview process and all that, and they brought me on, which is really cool. Got a lot of inside experience so far. That's been about 2 or 3 months now.
Nice.
So pretty recently.
Definitely a good way to get yourself in there and getting on a bigger page like that, getting exposure.
Definitely. It's fantastic work in there.
Cool deal. I had to get some background there. So I guess we can go ahead and get this thing kicked off. Start it up. Really no more than we need to do other than cut the chit chat and get to business. 2020 draft, Redskins. We had a pretty decent draft.
All right, let's do this.
We got a bunch of needs, covered a bunch of different needs for our team that was desperate, in my opinion. Pretty solid draft. So start off round one, of course. We didn't mess it up. Pick number 2, we got Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State. Thank you, Ron Rivera. Round 3 was kind of a shocker for everybody. We got Antonio Gibson, running back from Memphis. Nobody really expected us to draft a running back. I personally am okay with it because of the player that he is. He's a very versatile player. Any comments on those 2 first picks that we had?
Definitely, man. So Chase is just a beast. He's definitely more known for pass rushing, and that's because of his ability to lock his hip out. I'm not sure if you guys know like what locking the hip is, but he has a way so that as soon as he gets past the offensive lineman, he can lock his hip so he can't get pushed out of the way, and he cuts on a dime like wide receiver would and goes straight to the quarterback, which is just a fantastic, super athletic move that not many 200-pound men can do. So he's just a fantastic pass rusher and makes such a big difference in the game. And when it turns to Antonio Gibson, I was definitely shocked by this. I could have seen us getting him with the pick that we got for Antonio Gandy-Golden. So I was a little shocked about how early he went. I like the player, just not sure I like him at the pick. He's definitely unexperienced, cheap version of Christian McCaffrey and has a lot of upside, but I'm not sure if he's going to make an immediate impact.
Should be interesting to see how he fits in with Turner's offensive scheme because, like you said, he's kind of a inexperienced starting out Christian McCaffrey. And, of course, Christian McCaffrey was a huge part in Carolina's offense. So the similarities are there. So I'm not sure if he'll start off with a straight jump in right into the gun, but it really just comes on to how camps happen. He could possibly make a push, just depends on the grit that he has. For our next pick, round 4, we took Sadiq Charles, offensive tackle, LSU. Definitely a great pickup. Replaced Trent Williams that we ended up trading. I could see him as not a lot of people were very high on Charles come time because of the problems, as I could say, behind the name that really weren't that much of an issue off the field. On the field, great player, strong body. I'm really excited to see how he pans out. I think that he could make a difference in our offensive line and possibly even make a push for a starting position at the beginning of the year. How do you feel about him?
I think that if you watched any of LSU's games, man, Joe was so well protected.
Mm-hmm.
And Shadiq had like a very, very well put job in that. He did a great job in it. He definitely does have character issues, but if there's any coach in the NFL to deal with that, it's definitely Ron. He's had such a good track record when it comes to that, and so I think that Ron can shake him out. And I feel like he might not get a week 1 starting job, but he's definitely has a future on.
Yeah, certainly. I'm excited to see how he plays out. Our next pick, another 4th-round pick. We took a first wide receiver that we ended up grabbing, Antonio Gandy-Golden, wide receiver from Liberty University. Local school around here in my area. I've seen Antonio play. He's a great athlete, perfect size. Honestly, when you look for a definition of, say, like a wide receiver 2 for a young wide receiver core like we have, I think Gandy-Golden is one of our guys that you can definitely keep an eye on. I'm really excited how he can play out.
Definitely. He's literally the last word in his name says it all, Golden.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just he's all around a fantastic player. Perfect size and ability to get out there and get the ball, but also catch it in the chest. Reminds me of kind of what what's the Brown on the Tennessee Titans? What's that guy's name?
AJ?
AJ Brown, something like that. It reminds me of him. It reminds me of him or a DK or some of like, which is kind of funny seeing that they're all in the same area, and he has such a great athletic ability. So I'm excited. He's definitely a potential wide receiver too.
Oh, definitely. Next pick, we got a 5th-round pick. Actually, we ended up getting 2 5th-round picks from trades. The first 5th-round pick came from the Trent Williams trade to the 49ers, in which we picked Keith Ismail from San Diego State. He was an offensive lineman. I believe he was a center in college.
He was, yeah.
I wasn't too mad. It added depth to our offensive line. Could have gotten more of a kind of skill player in that spot, as we all kind of expected that we were going to do, or maybe a bigger defensive player. But a little more depth to the O-line, something I really can't complain about with our team.
He has potential. I don't see him having any of the same amount of impact that Charles might have. He has potential. Seems like someone that could ride the bench and be good depth, but I don't see him starting at all.
Yeah, no. Definitely a depth player. Possibly practice squad. Just somebody to get in there. As you know, we tend to be cursed with injuries down the line in seasons. So just in case anybody needs to pop in there for a couple snaps, just build up the bodies that we got and then go from there. Our next round 5 pick came from the Quentin Dunbar trade with Seattle. We ended up selecting Khaleke Hudson. He's a linebacker from Michigan. He played the Viper position at Michigan, which means he literally roamed the field. He wasn't just centered at a linebacker spot. He went and followed receivers. He played safety. He played it all. Definitely a hard hitter. I think he might be, honestly, a little underlooked, a little underappreciated in his skill that he has. I could possibly see Hudson making a move on this team. I believe he has the grit. He has that young heart. And I think that he would be a player that Ron Rivera would really kind of jump on to. Kind of like a Jabril Peppers situation.
Hudson is the third best player that we picked in this draft. He is outstanding. Everyone else has been super low on him. I'm looking at several Pro Stations draft grades, and he got a C- on CBS.
Yeah.
That's just, he is so good. He's underlooked. His size is a little bit questionable, and so is his tackling ability.
Mm-hmm.
But when he hits hard. But he doesn't wrap up as well. So I can see how might have been underlooked because he didn't make that big an impact. But with pro NFL coaching, that guy come out and he can just has fantastic ability to play all across the field.
Certainly, and especially under a veteran coach like Jack Del Rio. Definitely that defensive mind, and then honestly Ron Rivera as well. Those two strong defensive-minded coach can bring out the beast in those lower-name dudes that not everyone is higher up on. Our next pick came in round 7. We selected Cameron Curl, safety from Arkansas. Not too much I know about Cameron Curl, but I've watched a little bit. He's a decent player. Good value for the round that we got him in. Definitely needed some safety addition, a little more depth. Not sure if he'll be an immediate impact player like some of the rest of the guys, but depth is always good, especially when it comes to our safety spots.
Cameron he's an intriguing player. I think he's going to have good depth, but he's not going to start. I don't see him as a starter. I do know that he hits and he hits hard. His NFL inspiration is Cam from the Seahawks and the Legion of Boom. He's modeled his game after that Cam. And he's really worked on what he's doing. And I see him taking a place on the squad, but I'm not sure he starts anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Maybe down the line if he gets the chance, but I think it'll definitely be some time for him to develop in the pros and kind of model his game to fit the NFL style.
I see him kind of taking Troy Apaki's place, honestly.
Yeah, I could possibly see that. And then our last pick in the draft came in round 7 again. This pick came from the Case Keenum trade with the Broncos last season. We selected James Smith-Williams, defensive end from NC State. Was kind of curious on why we selected another defensive end because we kind of already have a good amount on our depth. Pretty good if we look at it as practice player-wise. Some people were questioning maybe we could get a better name for the value lower in the 7th round. But that's probably one of the most, I guess I would say, one of the most questionable picks that I looked at when it came to our draft.
Definitely. I mean, I think he's a good player. I just don't think he was a good player for our squad.
Mm-hmm.
I would have much rather had Cole Kmet here, honestly.
Yep.
That would have been fantastic. And to pair him with the undrafted free agent signing of Moss, that would have been such a good rookie tandem for tight ends. That would have been unbelievable. So I think I would have, there's definitely other players I would have had in that spot. And I don't think he fits their squad.
Yeah. So speaking of undrafted free agents, we'll go ahead and get into there before we kind of give our overall grade of how we think the Redskins did for the whole 2020 draft, including the undrafted free agents. First big name, of course, Thaddeus Moss, tight end, LSU. Not a lot of people were very high on him. Honestly, not a lot of people were very high on the tight ends in general when it came to this draft, but he was definitely a big name. He was a key playmaker when it came to LSU. He caught the ball when it mattered. He made plays when it mattered, and he had the grit and heart when it mattered. I'm happy about him. He's a great value for an undrafted free agent. Your thoughts?
So originally, when you look at all the past Redskins mock drafts, you see him going 3rd round to us.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Or 4th round to us.
I had him going in. I think I picked him like 5th round, or no, we wouldn't even have the 5th round, or somewhere in 5th or 4th. I think I had us taking Thad. But I wasn't expecting him to drop, honestly, to undrafted free agents.
I didn't expect him to drop past the 5th round, let alone the undrafted free agent. And I would I would have not. I would have been honestly disappointed if we had picked him with our 4th-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been slightly disappointed. He has a great catching ability, and as you said, he has the grit and the heart to make it in the NFL. And I like how hopefully, Dad will come around camp too sometimes. Mm-hmm. That also I would appreciate. But at the same time, he just doesn't have the speed, or necessarily the athletic ability. I feel like to truly be that star NFL tight end that I would hope that we would take possibly in that 4th round. Mm-hmm. But undrafted free agent, a nice addition to pair.
And then when it comes to our tight end room and our tight end depth, we can take what we get, and a name like Thaddeus Moss is definitely something we can get and use, especially when it comes to undrafted free agents, and be able to implement into our offensive scheme.
I think Sprinkle, I think he's honestly slightly underlooked. I totally do not think he is starting tight end, but I think he should have that second tight end spot on lock. If you think about our tight end room in the past 2 years, we've had some clutch tight ends. We had Jordan Reed, and we had Davis.
Yep.
Like those are clutch tight ends. There was no way he was going to make a push for even the second depth, but he held that third. And I think that he can catch the ball, just not great in moments where in pressure moments. He doesn't have the clutch gene. He can be that fill-in second player, but he doesn't have the clutch gene that we need.
Yep. Tight end, we'll talk about the starting lineup here in a little bit later on. But you're definitely right when it comes about sprinkling in our tight end depth room. Our next biggest undrafted free agent signing that we had was – or just the next one up in line. Steven Montez, quarterback, Colorado. I wasn't mad about this. We need QB depth. We need a practice squad QB. We need a third-string QB. We don't have that yet. Makes sense. Bring in somebody, not waste a draft pick or anything on him. Just sign him. Cheap contract if he makes the squad, and then bring him in. It's just the depth and scare and fear of injuries that we are known to have as Redskins. But I think It's a good pickup.
I agree. Steven Montez and Kyle Allen share the same agent. And so I think that connection there with Ron Rivera is actually a great little bloodline of people we have going in and out of that agent. I'm excited to see where Steven lands. He's definitely a mobile quarterback. I think he can probably be the RG3 that Baltimore has to our Redskins possibly.
Sounds good. Next biggest one, and probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest, other than Moss, undrafted free agent signings that we got, Isaiah Wright, wide receiver, Temple. I've been heavy on Isaiah. Watched a lot of his film. He was the heart of Temple's offense. He was a great player. He's a beast when it comes to things. I think he's going to be a great addition to our squad. Not sure if he will make an immediate impact, but definitely a good depth player, possibly a rotation here and there. But I can see big things for Isaiah Wright coming in the future.
He seems like the Sims of this year. I don't want to call him Mr. Irrelevant because we have a very bad run with Mr. Irrelevance and Stray. But I think that he definitely has potential to be on the lineup, definitely.
Certainly. And then our last one was another wide receiver from Missouri, Jonathan Johnson. Really don't know too much about Johnson. Haven't really looked into him. Do you know much about him?
He's a nice prospect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him taking any of our young guys' spots. I like all our receivers too much right now.
Yeah.
I think they're adding for depth, and I think they're adding for injury, and also because I think they picked up the smart guys when it comes to receivers. As you said, Wright was running Temple's offense. This guy definitely had a big play in his college's offense, and they're both smart receivers. And so I think they're adding that because you don't have the ability to run plays physically, and they're doing it all online, and so they're adding as much smart athletic ability as they can.
Certainly. All right, so like I said, or like you said as well, depth is kind of our biggest thing, especially when it comes into undrafted free agent signings, and then when it comes into kind of rebuilding a team. You got to make sure you have that lineup just in case somebody goes out, or just in case a couple people go out. Some practice squad room just guys to grind it out during the whole season. So next to start up our show, we'll just go ahead and talk about starting lineup. Everybody loves to talk about who's going to be the starting lineup for the team this year. No one really knows until camps start and we start getting into training and all of that fun stuff. But you can come up with sort of an idea. We'll go ahead and start on the offensive side of the ball, start on the biggest position of the team, possibly captain, quarterback. Obviously, this is Dwayne Haskins' team. I don't think there's much question to that anymore.
No. I mean, I would say there's still question to it. I believe this year it is definitely Haskins' team up until week 7. I feel like week 7 is the transition period where Ron said last year, okay, Cam isn't really working for us. Let's put in Allen. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like he will have Haskins in and starting until that week 7 time. Depending on how good he does till that week 7, which I believe week 7, he'll run at least 4 games coming into week 7. I've been looking at our schedule. I think we have a good 4-3 win period there. But I feel like it's enough to keep him as the job. And past that, I feel like it's really depending on how good he plays. But I believe he's definitely the starter up until week 7. And if he continues to make it like I hope he does, he'll definitely be the face of this franchise.
I think the same thing. He's kind of gotten the fire lit underneath him. Ron, he's done perfect playing the new coach role, coming in, taking a new quarterback, scaring him a little bit. The whole Tua and the whole Justin Herbert and the whole Joe Burrow thing coming draft time, he definitely sparked something under Haskins to make him be like, okay, this is my team. I'm not letting anybody take my team, and I'm going to do what I can to show you all what I have. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see this year.
Ron kept on telling Haskins to trust him. JP said that was the thing that Ron kept on telling Haskins to do. He just said, trust me, trust me. And I think that connection that he's building by saying, trust me, and I think is super important. Because the worst thing you can do is not have a good connection between your head coach and starting quarterback. Yep. And so I really like that connection.
Most definitely. That's probably one of the biggest things in football, especially when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. If your quarterback and his coach do not have that click, then things are going to continue to bump heads, and it's just going to be ugly. We saw it with Gruden. It's just how it is. Next up on the starting lineup, we're talking about some running backs.
So many.
Personally, so I kind of thought about it for a little bit when I was making my list. I came up with, of course, I got a three-headed scheme here, more of a 4. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and starting running back, I'm going to put Geis out just because I think that he's going to have that chance at the very beginning of the season to kind of prove what he has. Behind Geis, I think we're going to have a guy like Bryce Love. And then, honestly, I believe that we can see some Antonio Gibson in that as well, have them swapping out for the second running back. And then, of course, we have Adrian Peterson. I think he'll be a good third back addition for our offense, kind of that vet role. If we need him, throw him in there. If not, he'll definitely be clutch when times come for him, depending on how the rest of them are doing.
So I'm going to go with a very unpopular opinion here. And I tweeted this out a while ago and got some hate for it. And then an ESPN article came out the day after agreeing with me. But that's just some low-key shade. I don't think AP makes the starting squad. I think we trade him or release him. And it's simply because of all the talent we have here. There's too much that we can guarantee someone will stay on the practice squad and stay with us. I love AP. I think he's the savior of the past 2 years and the only bright spot of the past 2 years. But the thing that Redskins fans are missing is the fact that we're not in the past 2 years, thank God. This is a whole new regime. So hopefully we can see new players in new regime. I mean, however good AP is, I don't think he makes it. And so that's why I agree with you. Geis is my starting running back. I think he's learned all he can from AP. They've grinded together. They've worked together. I like Peyton Barber as a backup, but I'm not 100% sold on him. I think he showed potential in Tampa, and he played some good game there, but it's not 100% it. I like Gibson as a weapon, as a come in, the replacement Chris Thompson. I like that. And McKinzick is a very, very good receiving back.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely good. If you watch Instagram stories, he's running routes like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
I can see him and Gibson playing out, seeing where it's happening. And so for my depth chart for running back, I have Darius Geis as running back 1, Bryce Love for running back 2. People forget how good he was, dude. When he wasn't injured, he was supposed to go first round.
It was the whole injury scheme with Love that kind of threw everybody off. But I think he's had enough time to rehab and come back and train this offseason and definitely has a chance to make an impact.
He's now 200 pounds. He's a 5'9", 200 pounds guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good size for a running back, especially when you're as elusive as him. And so I'm very excited to see what he does. I think I have Geis, Love, JD, and Gibson making my final four for the squad. And I think we cut Barber. I think we cut Ferguson. Josh Ferguson's another name on the roster we have right now. I think we cut him. I think we either trade or release Adrian, with respect, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have issues with it. Young team, kind of bring in those young guys, see what kind of names we can make for ourselves. And I can get on board with that. I think AP is just that kind of playmaker that when needed, we can definitely rely on him, and we know that we can rely on him. But then, like you said, he's getting old. We're not 100% sure what he can do this year, which, I mean, we know he can still go. But with the young talent that we have, we might as well give it a shot and kind of bring in something new. Next up, wide receivers. I gave my top 4, but kind of 3. Of course, wide receiver 1 is going to be Terry McLaurin, no doubt. That's a complete given. Wide receiver 2, as we were talking about when we were talking about the draft picks, I have it Kelvin Harmon and then Antonio Gandy Golden. Those are the 2 guys that are really sticking out for wide receiver 2 spot. It's really going to fall on how they battle out in camp, how they battle out in off-season training practices, to see who will get that. I think when it comes to size, Gandy Golden has that advantage. When it comes to playmaking, I think he's got that advantage as well. But if it comes to Harmon's mindset that it's his spot to lose, he's going to put up a fight. So anything is going to be possible there. And then I have, of course, Steven Sims Jr. as wide receiver 3.
For me, I got to agree with you. I like Terry McLaurin. He's such an electric dude. Like, I did not see that coming last year, and he just came out of nowhere and blew everyone away. I love him. I think he's definitely wide receiver 1. I think wide receiver 2 is Gandy Golden. He has a lot of potential there as well. I have as my wide receiver 3, Cody Lattimore. I think he has the wide receiver 3 on lock. Well, you take Steven Sims and put him in the slot. I think we cut Trey Quinn. I think we cut Darvin Kidsey. I think we cut Jester Wee and Jordan Vize. And then I think we keep Isaiah Wright and Jonathan and Kelvin Harmon as our depth and cut Manuel Hall.
Certainly. It sounds like a good plan, good scheme there. We got that young wide receiver group, lots of talent.
All of them are so young.
Lots of opportunity there. Really excited to see how that works out. Talk about our offensive line real quick, and then we'll get into a little bit of tight ends, and then we'll head to defense, kind of speed things up a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and go through my whole offensive line. At left tackle, starting, I'm going to give the starting job to Sadiq Charles, our draft pick, LSU. I have faith in him to come out and camp and be a starter. I think Ron's going to get him in shape, and really excited to see how he goes. And then left guard, Wes Schweitzer, I believe is how you pronounce it. I'm not 100% positive. I think he'll come out starting guard. There's really not many options there. Center, Chase Ruier, I think that's how I'm botching names left and right, but hey, It happens.
Spoiler, rear, one of the two.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely he'll return back to the center spot. Right guard, of course, Brandon Scherf. And then right tackle, I kind of have a shocker here. I think our right tackle will be Cornelius Lucas. He was kind of projected to go as our left tackle to replace Donald Penn, but since I have Charles going left tackle, I think we can have Lucas make that transition into right. I think he'll be able to fare at that spot easily. And then, of course, it gets Morgan Moses out of there. So he's young. He's got a big body. He's a good blocker. He was kind of overlooked on the Bears. I think he'd definitely be a good body addition for our line and kind of protect that right side.
So here's what I want to happen. I want Morgan Moses to stay on, but I want him to go to our left guard. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what I want. I think he's always had more of a guard build than a tackle build. He's a 6'6", 330-pounder. That's usually what you see more in guards. But for some reason, we've had him at tackle. I'd like to see him at guard once, but I don't think he's going to make the roster. So going with the trend that you said, I think our left tackle is going to be, for week 1, Juron Christian. I think he's going to be replaced by Shadiq Charles very quickly. I think week 2, week 3, we're going to have Charles in there. But I think at the very beginning, we're going to have Christian simply because of experience. And that means he can catch on to systems quicker. That's the only reason why. And so I'm going to have Christian as our first on our left tackle. I'm going to have for our guard, I'm going to have Wes Martin as our guard. I like his build better. I think the 315 pounds, 2 year of experience, it's a nice place for him to be. Unlike Switcher or whatever.
Yeah,
however you say it.
There, definitely something that I didn't really consider. I don't know why, but I could see that as well. Certainly.
He's a 315-pounder. Even though 15 pounds plus doesn't sound like a big difference on the O-line, any pound can make. As long as you're agile with it, any pound can make a difference. So I got Martin there as my left guard. I think our left our left line is going to be a little bit weak towards the beginning of the season. So Haskins really has to work on getting out of the pocket more. And we're going to have a lot of slants and runs, definitely, because our left line side is going to be slightly weak. But at center, as you said, we definitely have Trace Rowler, something another there. He's good. He proved himself enough. And I think we keep Keith Ishmael as our backup there. I like him as our backup. But I don't think Ross Pierschberger makes the roster. I think as our left guard, of course, Brandon. He's a very nice man when it comes to offensive line. He's just he has all the ability you need to come in the starting package. And then for our right tackle, I think we have if this is difficult for me. I think we're going to have Lucas starting out, and then we're going to maybe put Christian there. And then we might keep Morgus simply because we don't have enough. Like we don't have that many this is such a good place for him options. Even though Morgan isn't good, he's the only one with experience besides Lucas. And so it's either going to be Lucas or Morgan, one of the two on the right tackle.
Certainly. Then going into our tight end, of course, like we were discussing earlier, I think Thaddeus Moss is going to kind of get that tight end one spot. And then I think he's going to be followed up by likes of Jeremy Sprinkle, Richard Rogers. Might see a Logan Thomas, might not 100% sure. But definitely those are the names to look out when it comes to our tight end room.
So when it comes to tight ends, from what I know from Ron Rivera, he likes speedy and quick and tall. That's what he had in Olsen when he was in his prime. Yeah. And so looking here, our tallest tight end on roster is 6'6" in Logan Thomas. Yeah. I think Logan Thomas takes the starting job. I think we see it followed by a Moss, and then a Sprinkle. I think
Logan Thomas, I've advocated for Logan Thomas since the time we signed him. I'm a Tech fan. He came from Tech, Hokie alumni. I've pounded his name to the ground, and everybody's about tired of me doing so. And I saw the vision at the same time, but the reason why I kind of threw it out as him not being tight end one was because I figured that young name and like a Moss would be good for tight end one. But like you said, Ron likes those tall, quick, hard-bodied, hard-hitting tight ends, and Logan Thomas describes that perfectly.
I think, and he's on the lighter side of the tight ends too, and especially this season in all our starting jobs, we're going to need experienced players simply because of we don't know what's happening right now in the NFL. And so we don't know how quickly the rookies are catching on, and we don't know anything. Seeing he's one of the most experienced, I see him as taking 1. I see Moss as taking 2, and I see Sprinkle as taking 3. And I see us keeping Caleb Wilson, or either Caleb Wilson or Marcus Ball as a fullback.
Okay. So you think it's out with Richard Rodgers?
I think it's out with Richard Rodgers. I think it looks like everybody else. There's nothing that sets him apart for me. He's just one of those guys that's like there, but there's nothing special and there's nothing to make him woo ah. So no, I think Logan, I like Moss, and I like Sprinkle, but I'm not sure Rodgers is there.
Yeah, got you. I mean, it sounds good. I like it as well. Like I said, I've kind of been advocating that Logan Thomas tight end 1 train. Bumped it back to tight end 2 just to see if we can get a rookie name out there. It really just depends on how Moss develops. But when it comes down to reliability, I would trust Logan Thomas over Jeremy Sprinkle for sure.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. On to the defense. Go through this a little quicker, but I'll start off with our defensive line. I got, of course, defensive end Montez Sweat, defensive tackle. So with this 4-3 that we're going to be running this year, I think that we're going to be doing a lot of rotating front line work, just because that's something that Del Rio is sort of known for, as well as Rivera. I can see some rotations going on. So I got 2 defensive tackles for each side. First side is going to be Deron Payne and then Tim Settle. Tim Settle made a huge impact last year. He was great at clogging up the hole, clogging up the runs. Deron Payne, he's Deron Payne, of course. Then the other side, John Allen and Matt Ioannidis. Definitely another set of rotators. Maybe John Allen gets that first spot, but I know that Ioannidis is definitely a competition there for that spot. He proved himself last year for sure. Then when it comes to our other defensive end, of course, you got Chase Young. And then I think a rotating defensive end for possibly both sides. I can see Ryan Kerrigan kind of going in and out for playing on, honestly, both sides of the line. But we're definitely going to see a kind of switch in and out defense this year, I believe. And I'm not mad about it because the players that we have on the interior are all reliable. They're all big-bodied. They all can make plays, and we know this. And you penetrate the middle with guys like Payne and Settle and Allen and Ioannidis, you're going to give that opportunity for guys like Sweat to actually get that rushing in, and then guys like, of course, Chase Young to tear up that outside and get the quarterback.
One of my favorite things that Chase Young did at Ohio State is on certain plays, he would look like he's about to go off on the edge like he usually does. And as soon as the ball snapped, he takes 1 foot forward, bounces off that, and goes right next in between the tackles and hits the center hard. That is such a nice move by Chase. So because of this, I think that we have at our right end spot, we have I'm going to go for right ends, I'm going to go Sweat. For defensive tackle, I'm going to take Ioannidis. I'm gonna take Allen. I'm gonna take Settle too, but I don't think he's gonna get as much playing time as Ioannidis or Payne. Um, I think, and it's such a stacked defensive tackle room.
Yeah.
Like this is probably the most difficult decision on the Redskins roster because you have Allen, Payne, and Ioannidis and Settle. And so I think Chase is on our starting left end, and that's that. There's no question there. I think that our defensive tackle mix in is Ioannidis and Chase. I think Payne and Allen get the defensive tackle, where Ioannidis is just kind of sliding all around. And I think for left end, it takes it's definitely Sweat for right end or left end, whichever one Sweat isn't taking. And I think that I think that Nate Orchard is going to come in as the occasional blitz.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's definitely a good interior there. Like I said, we got those big bodies. They definitely can play, and they've proven themselves reliable. And when it comes to clogging up the middle in a 4-3 to allow those outside rushers to come in, I'm certainly excited to see how that fares out because I believe that we're honestly going to have one of the dirtiest defensive lines in the NFL this year.
Oh, definitely. We have the wall. Remember when we had the wall when it was just Payne, Ioannidis, and Allen?
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Dude, our defensive coordinator last year screwed us over so badly because now we have 3+ pieces that are good to that already wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when one guy gets tired, there's just another dude to come in and kill you. It's just fantastic. It's the best depth chart in the NFL for defensive tackles.
Certainly. Moving on to our linebacker spots, I kind of thought about this for a little while, and I was like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm basing it on luck of injury, if you would say that. So at my strong side linebacker, kind of covering that tight end, I think I'm going to put a body like Cole Holcomb there on strong side. I think he could fare good at that position. The reason why I'm saying this is because I see somebody like middle linebacker coming in, Reuben Foster. I think he's going to come back from injury this year, possibly, hopefully. Just depends on how he can do in training and all of that stuff, see if he's actually fully recovered from his injury. But I think he could be a playmaker if we could get him in that middle linebacker spot. And then, of course, weak side linebacker covering pretty much your field, your receivers, and dropping back this is where I'm talking about it. Khaleke Hudson, I think this is where the position for him to shine would be, kind of play that Viper position just like he did in college and play that linebacker a little bit as well as play that safety kind of cornerback role as well. I believe that's how the linebacker scheme will be set up. It's kind of iffy here and there when it comes to middle linebacker and then strong side. But when it comes to weak side and that drop back Viper position, I'm definitely putting Hudson at that spot. I think it's his.
Did you mention Kerrigan?
I didn't mention Kerrigan as a backer. I had him playing on defensive line. I had him on the outside rotating.
Okay.
He could definitely play something. I could see Kerrigan taking that strong side role instead of Holcomb as well. That could be a possibility for sure.
This is the most difficult. Like, if I thought defensive tackle was difficult, this one's difficult. Like more.
Yeah, that's
more
I was when I was trying to figure it out. I was having troubles.
I think Reuben and Bostic take middle with Ryan fluctuating. I think Dion is a bye-bye. I like him, but I don't think he's there. I don't think Brailford's there either. I think rotating we have Cole and Davis. And maybe some Pierre Lewis. Maybe that's a possibility, but I don't think so. And I think we have Kerrigan, and we have Clemson's and we have Hudson there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then those are and then Jared Norris, who's technically also a linebacker, I see coming in just for special teams. And then Nate Orchard, however much I like him as a blitzer and however much I liked him last season, he seems like an odd man out, which is so sad to me because he's one of my favorite players on the roster simply because of his story.
Oh, yeah, he proved himself last year, but the talent that we have, it might be a little tough for him to get in.
I think it's definitely tough. If anything, he needs to slim down a little bit more, I think. That he can maybe try and fill in like another Hudson, possibly. Mm-hmm. If he can get in and he can cover some more zone as well, I think he finds a place. But at 255, I don't think he makes that as that cut. But I like his height, which is the only reason why I'm thinking maybe.
Certainly. All right, so that's our linebackers. We'll go ahead and move into our secondary here, talk about our cornerbacks and safeties. I'll go ahead and we'll roll through the cornerbacks real quick. CB1, definitely Kendall Fuller. Obvious, we brought him back. Give him his right position at the top CB. CB2, I'm going to go with Ronald Darby. I think it's kind of a given at this point. I think that he could have a chance to prove himself this season, and that's kind of what he has to do. And if he doesn't, then it's kind of give him the boot. And then CB3, I got Greg Stroman, actually. I think that this is a year that Greg Stroman can come out and prove what he's worth. I think he's got that fire behind him. He's got that grit. I think he matches up better than guys like Fabian or who else would it be? Can't think off the top of my head.
Jimmy Moreland.
Yep, and Moreland.
Jimmy Moreland.
Certainly. Yeah, I think I'd trust Stroman a little more. I'll get that younger. I mean, they're all younger, but I think Stroman kind of has that fire behind him. We really didn't get to see him shine too much because he got injured. Then we cut him. Then we brought him back, and he kind of was just a special teams, but he still was injured at the same time. So I think this is definitely a make or break year for him as well.
I think this is where my opinion gets a little whack. I think Darby gets the CB1. And it's simply because I think he matches up better.
Okay.
I don't think he makes more plays on the ball, but I think he matches up better. And I think with Jack, he can actually shine like he did in, say, Buffalo.
Got you.
So I think he takes the CB1. I think Fuller takes the CB2, which allows him to make more plays on the ball because he's not faced up against the best receiver on the field. Let's say if we're playing the Cowboys, Darby can take Amari with help from Sean Davis, and then Fuller can have Gallup all to himself and make more plays on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like that as our CB1 and CB2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think – sorry, go ahead.
You're good.
Okay. I think Jimmy takes CB3.
Okay.
Or CB4. He's in there. I think he's in there. He's definitely in there for me. And then I feel like Fabian, the only three I feel like are DB1, our DB2 are lock. And then I feel like the rest of the roster will go between Fabian, Jimmy, and Greg. Yeah. I don't think Danny has a place. Nah. I think Greg has potential. I definitely faced up well in preseason. He got his INT. He knows how to get the ball. But I'm not quite sure. It takes a lot for a young player to bounce back from an injury, especially when they played with an injury. Sorry. I think maybe Corona will play to his best and let him rehab more. But I don't know. I really like Jimmy, and I really like Fabian. I feel like Fabian played so good. I mean, not so good. He made plays.
Yeah.
He made good plays last season, and Jimmy in preseason did great as well. And so that's a tough mix-up, but I don't think Danny makes it. For safety, I think Landon is definitely starting. Certainly, I think Sean Davis is definitely starting. I think those are the only two that start.
I think that's exactly what I had. Pretty much a given at this point.
I like looking at this roster. I like Cameron Curl more. I think Curl starts. Not starts. I think Curl and Apaki are the backups. I like the Shazer Everett, but I
Mhm.
don't think he makes this roster.
Yeah.
I think he's had so much time to prove himself, and he just hasn't come in yet. He's 28. The prove yourself time is past.
Yeah.
I don't think he makes it. I think Jeremy Reeves, he was a good backup for us this season, but I don't think he makes it. And Maurice Smith is maybe a special teams player like your Jared Norris.
Yeah. Certainly, certainly. I think pretty much wraps it up for our starting lineup for what we think is going to happen this season. It's promising. We got young
Definitely.
talent. It's definitely something that we can look forward to. We got a strong defense. We're a little bit concerned about secondary usage. We're kind of solid when it comes to our defensive line. I personally do not think that our secondary is as bad as people are making it out to be. I think that I know people are like, oh, yeah, our secondary is garbage. We're going to be the worst in the NFC East, trash. We're going to be getting burnt. I can see the arguments they're making, but at the same time, I think these guys are being overlooked a lot. And under the right defensive mindsets like Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio will give these guys opportunities to shine and make plays for sure.
I agree with the people that are saying that if we didn't have the defensive line we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think our defensive line is enough to make a quarterback so unsteady. It allows our cornerbacks who wouldn't necessarily be as good as if we didn't have the defensive line be able to make plays.
Oh, yes.
We got our stud that can we got two people that can shut down a wide receiver in Darby and Fuller. Yeah. I think they can shut down a wide receiver. I think those are the perfect plays for the perfect money. And yeah. I think besides that, I think with our defensive line, they'll do fine. I think gives Sean Davis time to work on his game and get the ball, he'll do great. I think Carroll is a good hitter, and he can possibly be in there and maybe make some plays. And I think Apaki simply because he made that interception. I remember, and it was the one play I really remember from him that stood out. It was a rain game. I forget who we were facing, and he made an interception, no gloves. He has the ability to track, and he has the ability to catch, which I think is going to be great if we shake the quarterback like I'm hoping our defensive line does.
Certainly. Definitely excited to see how our team plays out this year, see how we fare out, kind of our young talent. It's promising looks on defense. I mean, it's a promising look on offense as well. I think that we might shock a lot of people more than we're expecting us to do, and that's going to bring me into our next topic. We're going to run through the schedule real quick. I'm just going to go through each week, and then you're simply going to say win or loss, and then we'll kind of come out at the very end and talk about final score or final standing wise and how we're going to fall. So, of course, week 1, we're at home. We open up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to put it out right now. It's a win. I think we got vengeance from what happened last year, week 1. We got a steady coaching staff now to make that happen. So I think we're going to open up FedEx Field with the first win of the season and go on a 1-0 jump in the NFC East against Philadelphia.
I would love to say that, but I think we're going to take an L simply because our new coach he's an amazing coach, but with Corona happening, I think our players won't have the chemistry they need to jump in front and take the dub. However, with a quarterback in Carson Wentz that has already some chemistry with his receivers and definitely his tight end and some sort of O-line in place that has chemistry, I think they take dubs simply because they have the chemistry, not talent.
Certainly. All right. Week 2, we take a trip to Arizona, face off the Cardinals. Arizona's looking like a promising team. I think that we are going to lose this game. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It could possibly be a one-score game, maybe even a field goal. But I think that Kyler Murray and his offense might edge us off just a little bit. So I'm going to say we take an L and go 1-1 in week 2.
I think we take a dub here because of our defensive line, and that's the only thing we need to say. Their offensive line sucks. Our defensive line is great. I think we take a dub.
Hey, valuable. All right, so week 3 we take a trip to Cleveland. I'm saying we take a dub here. I'm I'm still not buying into the Cleveland Baker Mayfield hype that is still going on. Like you said, our defensive line is dirty, and I still don't think that Cleveland offensive line has improved really. I mean, they got an offensive line in the draft, but that's not going to do them much good when it comes to a huge defensive scheme that we got going on, especially up front. So I say Baker is going to be on his back all game. Definitely a dub for us in Cleveland.
I got to agree with that. At the same time, I feel like it also kind of depends on OBJ. I can never count him out, no matter how much he sucked as a Cleveland Brown or how much he wasn't that good as his last year as a Giant. I just can't count him out, man. I feel like every time you begin to count out OBJ, he shows you why you shouldn't. And so I still think we take a dub, but it also depends on him.
Certainly. So week 4, we're at home against the Baltimore Ravens, taking on Lamar Jackson. I'm rough on this one. I'm craving an upset game for this season, but I don't think Baltimore is going to be it. I say we're going to take a L here, which would kind of bring our season 2-2.
I think we take an L here as well. Their offensive line is good. We don't have that advantage we had over Cardinals or Cleveland. I think they take the dub, which is sad, but I think they do.
Certainly. Week 5, we take a trip to we're at home again, facing the Rams. This is an interesting game for me. I wasn't really sure exactly what to say when it came to this, but I believe that we take the win at week 5.
I think they have the advantage we had over Carolina with their defensive line. You can't count out Donald. I think he takes it. I think he takes the cake. I think that's an L, sadly.
Next up, I'm going to go we're at New York first. That's going to be an easy dub, I believe, for us.
Let's plant Andrew Thomas on his back a couple times with Chase Young, and I think that's a W, seeing that our guy, Danny Dimes, likes to give out the ball to all the defenders, and we have a defensive line to make him. So I like it. Yep. I think that's a dub.
Next up, Cowboys come to FedEx. We play back-to-back. We played back-to-back-to-back NFC games here. Cowboys come to FedEx. I'm going to say that we take an L here in our first matchup against the boys. Just for the fact of I think the revenge will be coming Thanksgiving game.
That upset you were talking about, I think that happens here. I like the fact that it's at home. I think hopefully the excitement of the bye week the next, and plus the dub that we had in week 6 will carry over, and we'll have the confidence we need. And I think we'll get a win there, honestly.
Got you. All right. Next up, we're back in home still after the bye week, taking on New York. So I want to say that we take a dub and sweep New York, but something's telling me that New York is New York and they always find a way to nab at each of their division rivals, and I have a feeling that they're going to get us here at home. I'm going to say that we take a L week, I guess that would be 8 or 9. Week 9. Yep.
That would be 9, yeah. I don't know. This is probably the trickiest one in schedule, simply because week 8. I think week 8 is the best week to have a bye week, simply because it's also the trade deadline, and so you can have a full week of trying to get that stuff in. I think they take the dub though. I think we take the L. They take the dub simply because their guys will be a little rusty from the bye week.
She said we got the L.
Yeah, we got the L.
Got you. All right. Next up, we take a trip to Detroit, face the Lions. I'm going to say we take a dub on this one.
Matthew Stafford is an amazing man. It depends on him. I don't like their head coach. I think they should fire their head coach. I like Matthew Stafford, but I still think we take the dub because of their offensive line and the fact they don't have Darius Slay anymore.
Correct. Even though Terry is just going to body him in Philadelphia instead.
Hey.
No. All right. Next up, we're back at home against Cincinnati. Number 1 pick versus number 2 pick. I say we come out with the dub on this one.
I think we come out with a dub as well. Honestly, I'm looking forward to Haskins beating out Joe in stats, and I'm looking forward to Chase beating out Joe as literally beating the hell out of him. Simple.
Mm-hmm. Next game up, here we go. Yep, Thanksgiving game in Dallas versus the Cowboys. This is our revenge game. I think we take the dub on this one. I think we're going to go on a little streak here, and it might shock you where I'm going with this, but
okay. I see the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and I think the 2 wins that we had in a row, the confidence carries over, and I think we get a W there as well, which will make my boss hate me because he's a Cowboys fan, but I think that is simply that's written in stone. I think we have a dub there.
All righty. Next week up, take a trip to Pittsburgh to face off with the Steelers. It's going to be tough. I think that we're going to be on a sort of a roll here. I'm going to go with the dub in Pittsburgh.
I agree with that. I think Big Ben is his prime is way but done. I think Juju is nice, not JoJo. I don't know what JoJo is. Not JoJo Siwa, no. I think Juju comes back with the I think he's going to have a good game, but I think we take the dub there as well, simply because they don't have what it takes to face up with their defensive line.
Certainly. So at this point, we are standing on a 4-game win streak after we lost the game out of the bye. I think our confidence level is high. We are living on our hype. We are living on the momentum. And we take a trip to San Francisco to face off with the 49ers. And this is where I was talking about that upset that I was craving. And I believe our momentum carries on, and we take the dub against San Francisco.
I love the hype. I think it's going to be great. I would be super surprised if we win, though. I just think that Nick Bosa is just too much. Their defensive line is just too much. Kinlaw, he's a stud. They just got him. Their defensive backs are still great. Their defense didn't really change that much enough to me to say, we're going to still beat them with their offense. And our defense is good, but their offensive line is also good.
Yeah.
I would love to see Chase plant Trent. I'd love to see that.
Oh, certainly, yes.
I can't wait for that matchup. However, I still think they get the best of us, sadly.
Got you. Next week, we're back at home facing off with the Seattle Seahawks. I think that this is kind of the end of the season stretch, and that's kind of when Russell Wilson really starts heating up right before playoffs. I think that we're going to take the L in this game.
I agree with that. I think we're going to take the L, especially because I believe that the Seahawks are going to get back Clowney. And so I think that if they get back Clowney, our offensive line, there isn't anyone on our offensive line that can stop Clowney. Gotcha. And so I don't see that happening.
Next week up, we're still at home to face off. Ron Rivera takes on his old team, Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say that's a dub.
I agree with that. I think that's also a dub. I think that Ron is going to be motivated. I think the players are going to be motivated. I think the coaching staff is going to be motivated because most of each of those 3 groups have come from Carolina, because Ron picked up a lot of his old roots And so it's always fun playing your old team. I think we take a dub. I think their offensive line can't stand us.
Yes, sir. And then last game of the season, we're at Philadelphia. In Lincoln Financial, I'm going to say that we take the L. I think this is where they'll get us.
I think it depends on Wentz. Is he healthy?
Very true.
If he's healthy, then yes, that's an S. That's an L, 100%. If he's not, then we take the dub.
Yeah.
But knowing Wentz, he's probably not going to be healthy, so I say we take the win.
Got you. I like it. We kind of flip-flopped anyways. I took us at the very first game.
Yeah.
At the very last game. So, sum it up. I have us shocking 10-6. I think Haskins is going to carry this team. I think he's going to play a big part in our success, along with our defensive line. I think those are going to be the two people or the two groups to kind of watch for. Look for Haskins and his receivers, and then look for our defensive line. And I think that's going to really what this season is going to rely down to. But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that I can see the vision, and I can see us going 10-6. I think I had us playing even against the NFC East opponents. So that's kind of going to throw off where we're going to end up when it comes time for the season to end. I'm certain that New York is going to get blown out probably by either the Cowboys, the Eagles, or maybe even both. So I possibly see them going last in the division. So just to be safe, I say at least we're coming in third, possibly a second. And I don't know, maybe if we have another season like we did last year with the NFC East, possibly a first. It really just depends.
I think at worst we go 8-8, and I think at best we go 10-6.
Yep.
I think at worst we take second. At best we take second. I think we got the Eagles. I think we tie with the Eagles. I think we take an L the first. We take a dub the last. I think we just beat the Giants. Just beat them down to the ground as much as we can, because that's just, for me, that's simple. I don't think they win. I think the Cowboys, I think we either win against them once. I mean, we don't – wait, what I have? I think we either win against them once or we don't win against them at all.
Got you. All righty. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where it is. My high is 10-6. My low is probably like 8-8, 7-9. I don't think that we're really going to fall too low. I don't see a real, 4 and whatever, 4 and freaking 12 or whatever it would be. Definitely kind of see an even season or an above average for sure. I think we're going to shock people. I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. We got a young group of guys, and it's going to be, it's going to be a season for us for sure. Definitely that rebuilding kind of bounce back, and maybe even a bigger bounce back than we all expected.
Definitely.
So with that being said, we have wrapped up the Redskins portion of this show, and it's time to get into the stuff. So I'm going to give a little quick backstory. Quick backstory here would be, so the Clowney chat, what happened was it started off as a wrestling group chat. Jimmy, we call Clowney, Clown for Clowney is his username on Twitter. He started this wrestling group chat, and he kind of added me to it. And I don't know why. I think he might have posted something on the timeline, and I was like, okay, I'll hop in a wrestling group chat. Why not? It was my first group chat I'd ever been on Twitter. I was like, I'll give this a shot, see how cringe it turns into. So come along. He adds Phil. He'll play a part in this story as well. He adds Phil to the group chat, which Phil proceeds to add a bunch of other people. And that group chat just gets flooded with a bunch of random people, and it goes from a wrestling group chat to a sort of wrestling group chat, football, mainly Redskins fans, everybody. So it pretty much combined for me because I'm a Redskins fan, so I kind of got along with them. So we all became friends, so on and so forth. Fast forward a little bit, I get added into the actual Redskins group chat that they had. And then that kind of brings us to where it was draft day. So in my perspective, draft day, what happened was, I guess we were in the Connie chat and we were just talking and we're like, okay, we got Owen over here. We're like, we're gonna pull some prank or something like that. And we were like, it was. So I'm guessing what happened was Mo texted you or DM'd you and gave you this number. And the number he gave you was actually Phil's number. And he told you that Phil was a man named Jacob Goad. So Jacob Goad is really Jimmy. That's Jimmy's real name. So that's Clowney's real name, Jacob Goad. And he said that Jacob Goad was the roommate of the Browns, like general manager's personal assistant or something like that. Some crazy crap. Said that he had overheard a conversation talking about
Trent and OBJ trade.
Trent Williams and some kind of pick or something to the Cleveland Browns for Odell Beckham Jr. Something along those lines. The main people were Trent and OBJ. So Mo gives you Phil's number. I guess you text Phil. We're in the Clowney chat. We're all like, what should we say next? What should we say next? So we're giving him advice. Mo's kind of laying down the basics, telling him what to tell you. He's going along with it. We think we have you hooked. We were like, yes. Okay, we got him hooked. We're about to release some breaking draft day news that's completely garbage. And then after the main purpose, what we were going to go for was we were like, okay, so he'll post it. We'll tell him it's fake. We'll tell him to watch his sources, lesson learned, good life lesson for the kid, whatever you wanted to call it. So I guess you all kept texting, and then you come to, like, agreements that you were going to post the draft news or the trade news at, like, 1:30. You were offering Phil, like, you were like, oh, we like to thank our sources by giving them some gift with some company or whatever. And he was like, he's offering me presents and this and that and this and that. And then so we're like, all right, just don't take them. Tell them it's good. Tell them you just want the exposure. You want the feel-good feeling about leaking something huge in the NFL. So what happens is, I guess it starts closing in to 1:30. It's everybody's antsy. I'm at work. I'm looking at my phone. Everybody's getting antsy. They're like, okay, it's almost 1:30. Time's coming on. You're talking about, I hope, something about this better be true, or something about my reputation. You mentioned something about your reputation. And that's where it kind of flipped in Mo's head, and he started freaking out. So he comes to the chat, and he's like, I don't want to ruin this kid's reputation. I can't ruin his life. We got to cancel this now. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. We're like, no, don't stop it. Don't stop it. Just keep going along with it. Don't ruin it yet. Let him post the news. We can have him keep it up for like a good couple minutes. We just want to see it get leaked. And then so time comes around. You're like 5 minutes. I think it was like 4 minutes before you posted the thing. Mo snaps. He goes to the Redskins group chat. He's like, Owen, don't post it. It was all a lie. They're all tagging you, trying to get you to the group chat, but you are not coming. And I was like, he ain't coming. He's got that thing typed up on his phone. He's ready to post it. I was like, this man is this draft day news, and y'all can't do nothing about it at this point. You're way too late. If you were going to tell him that it was fake, you should have told him minutes ago, because we're 3 minutes away, and he's got it on. It's typed up. He's ready to press send. So time rolls around, 1:30 hits. I'm like, okay, this kid's got to be ready to post it. So I get on your profile. I refresh it. I look at it. And when I say I had an instant drop of emotion, I was like, we just got played. I was like, we spent all this time writing out some perfect troll. We had it all planned out, all for Owen to go on Twitter, and I'll put the tweet on the screen in this video. All for go on Twitter talking about my big special announcement was I have now official name for my podcast. Drop Top Sports Podcast, so on and so forth. More information or something like that. And then at the bottom, this is where it got me. At the bottom, you said, Shout out to the Clowney group chat. And I was like, hold on. Let me think about this. The Clowney
My
group
biggest
chat.
supporters.
I was like, the Clowney group chat. So we're all in the Clowney group chat. We're like, we just spent all this time and we just got played by a kid. We had the perfect troll going on and we got reverse trolled. We made a term. We said we got Owened. We simply got Owened, and it smacked us right in the face. So we were like, okay, what the hell? So then the investigating starts. Everybody's investigating it. How does he know what the Clowney group chat is? Because the Clowney group chat is kind of like a secret exiled group chat from the Redskins group chat. And Owen was in the Redskins group chat, but he wasn't in the Clowney group chat. And the only people that call the Clowney group chat, are the people that are in the Clowney group chat. So we were like, pause. We got a rat in here. Who ratted on the troll? Who told Owen what happened? Everybody's arguing. The place is going crazy. We start blaming Jimmy. We start blaming this person, that person, this person, that person. Everybody's throwing shots. We're like, who's the snitch? Who's the snitch? And we never find out. And then I think it came time you were like, maybe I'll tell. And then I was like, no, do not tell. This will make for a perfect episode on my channel. We're going to release the info. Before I get to your side of the story, I remember we had, when you were talking about that present or whatever, you were asking for like information, for the person's information, like an Instagram or something that you could go on social media. And then this man, Jimmy, goes onto his social media and completely changes his Instagram profile.
Are you serious?
to Jacob Goad something, turned his profile picture into a Browns helmet. And we were like, Jimmy, you did not have to do that. We never told you. He was like, I finally got y'all. I got y'all. No worries. I was like, bro, that was not necessary. So it caused, from the time we spent a
that is great
on this troll, 2 hours planning this thing out, all for it to hit 1:30, and we get reverse trolled. We get Owened. That's the term. We got Owen. It came back and slapped us in the face. So, Owen, go ahead. What is your story? Tell us how everything went down on your end.
So, when this all happened, this was almost about a month ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working for CTB for about a month and a half when that happened. And so I was brand new. I had given them pretty much everything I had. I told them my sources. And so we're in the Redskins group chat that I've since gotten kicked from, like 2 days after this all happened. I've just completely been eliminated from it. I don't even have it. I don't even remember the name of it. And so we were in this group chat, and some guy said, guys, I think OBJ is getting traded to us for Trent. And so I had honestly been hearing some of the same stuff from a community of people. None of them were legitimate sources, but from a community of people. Mm-hmm. And so when this guy said this, I was like, who are you hearing it from? And he was like, a trusted source. And this kid had like 1,000 followers, which is more than I had. Yeah. And he had posted news in the past. And so I was like, okay, this guy might actually have sources. Some of the best sources are people that you don't expect to actually be sources. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, DM me. And so I DM'd him. I went in. I said, hey, what's up? Who's your source? And so this is where you guys got started. This is where you guys said, you put out the information, you gave me the number. I texted the number. I started getting a little worried because I knew that it was supposed to happen soon. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, this guy isn't texting me. He was probably like plotting with you guys. Yeah. And so I started getting a little worried. I was like, this
he was nervous to text you at first. He was like, should I text him back? Should I text him back? We were like, text him back. Do it.
Yeah, it was great. And so I text him and we start this whole conversation in which he tells me that it's happening. And I say, okay, sure, 100%. Mm-hmm. I believe you. That's what you're supposed to do with the source. Yeah. You're supposed to believe the source and then go in and make sure it's legitimate. I had no way to make sure the source was legitimate. And so as a reporter, I would not be doing my job if I reported any story from a non-legitimate source that I knew. And so that's why I asked him to send me screenshots of the email that he saw or maybe something like that. Mm-hmm. I was asking for some sort of evidence that way I could legitimize the source. And I couldn't get anything. And so I wasn't going to post it originally. Yeah. Right? And so I was just going to be like, okay, that's fine. Thank you for helping. And so I was just going to go about my day when the rat texted me. I'm not going to mention the name of the person until after. But this person said, yo, don't say anything. I have their tweet pulled up right now. They're effing with you. Do not post that trade. I feel bad. That's the reason I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm not stupid. I wasn't going to post it. The person said, okay, good. I said, it's always good to follow through. Pretty much the same stuff I told you right now.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, they're struggling with things to come up with. I was like, the personal assistant to Eric Berry wouldn't have that access. And we were pretty much talking. She was like, I felt bad. Thought you were going to post it. She said, I didn't think you were stupid, not only because you said you were going to post it at 1:30. And so pretty much I sent them, knowing that you guys, because I didn't think you guys were like screwing with me. I thought this was just someone that thought they had a source, and they didn't. I didn't think it was you guys screwing with me until they told me. And so that's when I came up with the iHome Tech thing.
Yeah.
I actually work with iHome Tech, which is the present. And so I was going to send him a gag gift pretty much, just because why not? It sounded funny. I thought it'd be a good return. And so he didn't answer. And so the person started laughing. She was like, go hard. It's owed to you. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks. I appreciate that. So then the person sent me screenshots of your conversation.
Okay.
King Ty, bunch of letters, sending my tweet. It was here. Actually, I'm not sure. Here. Just for the here, I'll flip the camera. This is the tweet that I have. I'm not sure if it'll focus.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. Yep. That's all of it.
Yep.
And so I had that.
We were ready.
Yes, you guys were so ready for that. And so I looked at these screenshots and I was like, oh, they're still trying to play with me. And so I was originally going to release the podcast news that day. I just didn't have a planned time for it. So it was like, oh, cool. Let me screw with them a little bit. And so we did that. She sent me more screenshots of, bro, if someone like Rappaport sees this, I can't, bro. Oh my God, he's risking his cred. TY, you got to tell him.
Yeah, that's when they told me they're like Ty, you got to tell him. You got to tell him. I was like, man, okay, I'll take responsibility for this. I was like, I'll just tell him that we were teaching them a lesson, whatever. I'll take the responsibility. We'll do it. Just get the damn thing out.
And so I told him. I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever done, because I kept on texting in the Redskins chat the numbers and the times I was going to release it. I was like, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. I was trying to hype it up enough to get you guys screwed with, which it worked. And she was, the person was dying, right? And then the next thing I see is nobody snitched. Somebody snitched early. How would he have known our chat? It was definitely Amari, man. Owen got 1,000 IQ. Someone snitched. Nah, I promise. The only people in here knew about the clowny group chat, let alone what it's called. And so everyone thought somebody snitched. I have 4 other screenshots about you guys talking about how someone snitched.
Yeah.
And then you guys started kicking somebody. You guys started kicking people.
Yeah,
the person who sent me
left and right. It was like a whole creation up in there.
And so the person who sent me this said, lol, bruh, don't tell them it was me. They're really out for heads now. I just felt really bad. I don't want to kill your credibility. I was like, I'm not. You don't live in VA Beach, do you? She said, no, Jersey. Why? I said, you'll see. And so knowing that this group was mostly Redskins fans, I know what Redskins fans are. And so I looked up on Google a VA Beach area code.
Oh, okay.
And so what I did,
this is where the VA Beach area code came from.
Yes, sir. And so what I did is I texted myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I deleted these texts. And so it seemed like I had received a message. And then I went into the number contact and changed it to a VA area code and then a random string of numbers just to see what would happen. And so then I took a screenshot of that and I sent it to the person. I sent it to, who did I send it to? Amari. I sent it to Amari. And he said, so whoever did it clearly tried to frame Jimmy. Yes, Owen sent me that. It's a Virginia Beach area code and a screenshot. And then you guys was like, who lives in Virginia Beach? And then I think you guys watered it down to Alex, I think, maybe?
We framed the Alex. It was Alex. Alex had the frame. We go, Alex, show us your Google Hangout account right now.
And then you guys went through like all the numbers for the Google account. That was the funniest thing. She sent me a screenshot to that. And then after you guys found out it wasn't Alex, you guys added me to the group chat.
Yep.
And you were like, okay, Owen, who is it? And I was like, I don't know. I thought I had a source. And then I found out you guys were playing with me. I don't know who it was. Someone texted me. I added a lot of crying emojis to make it seem like I had absolutely no idea when I knew exactly. I tried to play it off like anyone would. And so they said, the person that told me this was like, wow, Alex loves attention. He'll say it's him, even if it wasn't. And so I thought that was a little funny. The person was low-key throwing shade. And so you guys added me to the group chat. And then this person, after me playing along a little bit more, tried to tell you guys who it was through clues. And so she sent a song by the name of I Did It in a GIF form.
Okay.
And several other things.
Yep.
And you guys didn't pay attention. And she said, they're so blind. The song is Confessions. Wow, they're not going to bite. And so the rat was Sam. Mm-hmm. Sam texted me from the beginning and told me who it was.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Sam was the snitch that ruined the Clowney Day troll, the Clowney Draft Day troll. Thank you, Sam. Shout out to you. No shout outs, actually. You ruined it. Complete 2 hours wasted. Wow. So there it is, guys. I know Clowney Chat's probably listening to this. Everybody wanted to know who was behind the snitching of the troll. I'm pretty sure some people probably already had an idea, but I was like, we're not releasing this information until we get it on an episode. Make it good.
Yes,
with that being said, Owen, I appreciate you joining me tonight. This episode has been really good. I've had a fun time.
Me too, man. This was fantastic.
Yes, sir. With that being said, maybe I can get you on some more episodes here in the near future if you're down for it. Possibly become – I mean, I really don't have a lot of people to talk Redskins stuff with. My best friend's an Eagles fan. My other best friend's a Patriots fan. So, I don't have very much variety to talk about Washington with. So, I'll definitely, if I need somebody to hop on an episode, I'm going to hit you up for sure.
I got you.
With that being said, take care. And as always, King Ty is signing off. Stay sauced.